Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Cato. October 10th will forever be etched in the memory of Maria Corina Machado, who has won the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 for her efforts to promote democratic rights in Venezuela. To find out about Machado, who she is and what she has done for Venezuela, we are joined by Rafał Pankowski, who is the co-founder of the Never Again Association and a professor at Collegium Civitas University in Warsaw. Good evening and thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening.
So, with Donald Trump lobbying so hard for his win for this Nobel Peace Prize, please tell us about Maria Corina Machado and who she is and why the Nobel Peace Prize Committee turned to Venezuela this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that, first of all, she is a certain symbol, a symbol of we can call democratic resistance to dictatorship, a peaceful democratic resistance. Well, she's an active politician. She's the leader of the Venezuelan democratic opposition. In this sense, I think the committee is risking some criticism, so politicization of the prize. But if we read the official communication from the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, it really stresses this aspect of democracy, if you like, people's power. And Maria Corina Machado frequently emphasizes the importance of the balanced relationship between the citizenry and the state, which of course is a universal message. So I think this is what she stands for, and this is probably among the reasons why she was awarded this very, very important prize.
Okay, before we go on, let's take a look at this footage of that moment when Machado finds out that she is the winner of this year's Nobel Peace Prize.
And I'm calling to inform you that in a few minutes, it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
So warmest congratulations to you, Maria.
She sounds like a humble and lovely woman. And I want to ask you, what has she delivered for Venezuela in a tangible way? So what is she fighting for right now as we speak?
Well, as we know, the whole situation in Venezuela nowadays is quite dramatic, both in terms of the economy and also importantly in the field of democratic freedoms. As a result, there are hundreds of thousands and actually millions of refugees from Venezuela, especially in the Latin American countries. But she has led the opposition movement that actually won the last presidential election. She was not standing, but she led the movement behind the winning candidate. But as we know, the dictatorship refused to recognize the result of the election. So I think in a way what she has given, whether it's tangible or not, we can debate. But I think she has given hope to the citizens of Venezuela, and for many across the world, she has been a model of this type of peaceful democratic resistance. That has a long history, of course, in terms of the long-term peace movement and human rights movement. Going back to Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, who by the way never received the Nobel Peace Prize.
But so, without wishing to discredit Machado, why was the Nobel Prize not awarded to someone in a region where actual physical wars are being fought? I'm thinking of places like Ukraine or the Gaza Strip, for instance.
Well, I think it's a fair point. And it's a long list of regions where wars and very, very, very deadly, very violent conflicts are taking place, and there are very brave people out there trying to stop those conflicts, especially at the grassroots level. I would add Sudan, for example, and that was my personal expectation, and I think for many it was an expectation that the civil society network, under the name Emergency Response Rooms, which is a big network of Sudanese community groups, trying to provide basic services to the people of Sudan. That was actually my own favorite. Peace activists and human rights activists from Ukraine and from Russia already received an award. The conflict in Gaza, as we know, is very dramatic, very tragic, and it has really shaken the world, especially in the last weeks and months. But as we know, there is a prospect of peace, but it's still a prospect rather than genuine peace. So who knows? Perhaps whoever brings peace to the Middle East, genuine peace, may be well in line for.
So, speaking about peace in the Middle East, we know that Donald Trump did not receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Was this a good decision? Perhaps President Trump should have been encouraged to become more involved. He should be more encouraged to be involved in peace processes. Can you chime in on that?
Well, actually, I don't think anybody in their right mind really thought that Donald Trump would receive the Nobel Peace Prize, certainly this year. I think that would be highly surprising. Maybe some of the acolytes of Donald Trump led him to believe in that, but I think that was a very, very unlikely option. But I think the Nobel Peace Prize is very much related to the culture of peace, and the culture of peace is very much related to what we can call positive peace. Peace is not just the absence of gunshots. Positive peace is based on several pillars that bring long-term peaceful solutions. And certainly, Donald Trump is hardly a symbol of a culture of peace as a politician. But who knows if he can bring some positive impact on the Middle East. Everything is possible in future, but I think this is still a very, very distant perspective.
We know that Machado has been living in hiding. Do you think that now that she has won the Nobel Peace Prize, she will actually be able to come out of hiding and to do more work towards bringing democratic rights for Venezuela? Do you think that she perhaps might be able to run in the next elections?
Well, I think this is actually quite important in terms of her own specific situation. Yes, hopefully the Peace Prize comes with a certain status that helps to improve her own personal safety and security vis-a-vis the authorities. So I think that actually has an important function. And I think for many of us in Poland, back to 1983, when Lech Wałęsa, the leader of Solidarity, received the Peace Prize, and I think that had a very significant role in the sense of strengthening his standing and his also personal standing the communist military dictatorship in Poland at that time. So I think, yes, that is a very important aspect of awarding the Nobel Peace Prize.
Do you think that this award will actually impact the Venezuelan opposition in the sense that it might actually reinvigorate the opposition to do more?
Well, this I think is is a day that will remain in the memory of many citizens of Venezuela for many years. I think it certainly provides a big boost to the citizens movement and the opposition in general. And I think also importantly, it might encourage the government to rethink the strategy and maybe consider the possibility of national reconciliation, which, as we know, is not an easy process. But we know it is also possible, and there are examples in history, including relatively recent history, showing that a democratic transition, a peaceful democratic transition, is actually possible, and it can be negotiated, it can be achieved.
And just as we wrap up, a little bit of an open-ended question. What is the significance of the Nobel Peace Prize? Because is it really about delivering peace, or is it about aspiring towards peace?
Well, I think we remember the very interesting case when Barack Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. And of course, he in some ways symbolized the achievements of the civil rights movement in the US as the first non-white president, so-called. But at that time, he was just starting his first term. So I think until today, some people are saying that that decision was maybe a little bit premature. But yes, there are two ways of looking at it. One is the Nobel Peace Prize as a kind of tool to encourage political leaders to walk the path of peace, and the other way of looking at it is to award it to people who actually have a more grassroots position and tangible achievements in working for peace. Yes.
Okay. Rafał Pankowski, co-founder of the Never Again Association. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And that wraps up World Talks. Thank you so much for being with us, and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.